know what it is about that music, but it always gets me pumped up, Gail.
I like dance around.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
exactly. So, welcome everybody back to Conversations in Ken's Cafe. We've got Gail Southern living with us today, a homesteader, and she's learned a lot over the years, and she's here to share her experiences and her successes and failures with us so we can learn from what she has done. Gail, welcome very much. It was a pleasure being on your podcast, and welcome to mine.
thank you. Thank you for allowing me on.
Oh, you bet.
High to
Because
rockets.
and we're gonna give a big shout out to Simply Jane. I think she's got her own podcast going on right now, but she
Yeah,
stopped by to say hi. And
that was
we got Daniel, and Daniel's from your half of the channel as well. And of course, we've got my wife, Silly Lily, saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. But Gail, for my side of the audience, they probably don't really know who Gail is. So you want to give us a little bit of background, please?
sure. So I got myself a little work injury that I was telling you about earlier. And so I was at home a lot, and I was watching a lot of like Homestead Tessie and Becky's Homestead and learning about chickens and things like that. I started following some prepping channels. And after a while, after watching Homestead Tessie, I said, I think I ought to start a YouTube channel. So I told my family, and I
Cool.
thought, they are going to laugh at me, but they didn't. They're like, oh, that's a really good idea. Totally. So now I do gardening, I do cooking, I do crafts, I do interviews. Um, and it's really fun. And I like YouTube, and this is like my family and my friends. So I've really
Mhm.
enjoyed my time on YouTube. And I know people probably in every single state and a few other countries.
Countries. Yep. Well, I'm in Canada, so you know at least one
Yeah,
person from Alberta.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have several Canada friends actually. Lori's World is probably my closest friend. I don't know if you know her or not, but
Nope,
she's really
not
cool.
yet, but I'll
Yeah.
have to meet her.
Yeah, she's cool. You'll like her. She
Hmm.
does gardening and cooking and crafts. She does some really cool crafts.
Yeah. Well,
Same
and that's
stuff.
a lot of what homesteading is creating things from your own homestead, whether you can sell those things or use those things, but a lot of it in homesteading is that self-creation. How do
Yes.
you find that?
I just get inspired by others. And sometimes I'll see them canning something that I decide I want to, or maybe I don't want to can exactly what they're canning, but I want to can, but I have something else that I put
Hmm.
up. And it's really pulled me out of my box, because I had never done dehydrating or pressure canning or water bath canning,
Hmm.
soap making, um, sourdough starter. There's a lot of stuff. Like there's a whole huge list, and I totally need to make a video of it. But there are so many things I tried because
Hmm.
of YouTube. Oh, making pasta.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, lots of. I need to make a list of it because I didn't even realize there were so many until I started naming them off to you, and I'm like, wow, look at all this cool stuff I learned from YouTube. And I did gardening, but not at the level that I'm doing it now, which I'm not an expert, but I've learned a lot in my little over 4 years on YouTube about gardening. My mom's like, "Oh, you're a good gardener." I'm like, "Mom, no, not on YouTube. I'm not." I'm like, "There's people way up here. I'm down here, Mama." But I'm learning, and I've learned a lot of stuff about gardening and amending your soil and
Hmm.
this every year, whatever problem I have in the garden, over the fall and winter, I research it on the computer
Hmm.
and I try to find solutions to solve that problem for next year, and so on and so forth. And every year I come up with a plan. As a matter of fact, last night I went to Dollar Tree and I got a big old white poster board and a
Mhm.
package of construction paper and a marker, I think. And I made out a garden plan of all my beds where they are. And then I'm going to write on what I'm going to put in it. If I change my mind, I'll just go over that, and put a little piece of paper and change the label. And I have it all set up so I know exactly what I have room for and
Mhm.
where everything's going to go. And I'm going to hang that up in the hall of our house, and I'll keep making revisions over time. And then when it comes gardening season, I'll sit that out in the utility room because that's the closest room to the back door. And I'll go and follow that plan because I have so many seeds I want to try. Like I did the Indiana Backyard Gardener seed swap last year. It was a really good seed swap. And I had some seeds I didn't get to plant. Also, Heavenly Hills Homestead sent me a bunch of really cool seeds too.
Cool.
I didn't get to try all those yet. So I have a lot of good seeds I want to try. And I just love trying new things and
Yeah.
just when I can get to grow and if I can accomplish something. And sometimes it might take me, I might try it the first time and it might just be wonderful. And other times it might take me 2 or 3 years to get it figured out, but I'll just keep on trying until I get the process down. What is my soil need to grow this particular thing?
Yeah. Well, and like you pointed out, one of the keys to success in home gardening is having that plot plan and laying everything out beforehand so you're not scrambling at the beginning of the season going, okay, well, what am I putting where? That
Yes.
is a
And then you
real
run out of
key.
space and you're like, well,
Yeah.
where am I going to put my, it's not usually the basic things, but it's like, where am I going to put my onion? Where am I going to put this or that? So I have it all planned out. And any area where I had bug pressure this year, I'm going to put things that the bugs don't like there.
Yeah. Yep.
That's part of my plan. I also have some neem oil. I've never tried it. Been hearing about it for a couple of years. I said, okay, next year I'm gonna implement some neem oil into I'm gonna do my research on it, of course, but I already bought
Yeah.
it. Actually, hubby ordered it for me on the internet. So, hello,
Cool.
Ariella, welcome in. And hi, Tina from Rainy Ridge. And sorry,
Yeah.
I can't see the comments. I'm on my phone. So, thank you guys all for coming in. I appreciate you.
And I appreciate them being here as well. You guys are amazing. And the knowledge that Gail is sharing is absolutely amazing. Now, you're in your plot plan, have you laid out your spacing? Because like a tomato needs so much space, etc. Have you incorporated that into your plot plan?
It's not really necessarily that part. It's more like making sure I have enough beds for each thing and then deciding what I'm going to leave out. Not necessarily
Mhm.
spacing, because I kind of have that down because I've been gardening for quite a few years. I have the spacing down pretty much. I'm sure I could use improvement, but I'm kind of not a measurer. I'm more of a throw it in. Throw it in, throw it. It don't come up. Throw another one in.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's me. That's a little bit, crazy and reckless, but it works out. I mean, don't be scared to put the seeds in the dirt because they will grow if you water them.
Yeah.
Some seeds aren't picky at all. Other seeds are very picky.
Yep. They want to be started in beautiful soil inside in the warmth and
Yeah. And I only have one grow light. So I
Mhm.
decided for next year, I'm going to focus on only putting the plants that combat the bugs.
Mhm.
So I'm going to start my basil and things that will combat the bugs. I'm going to start those. So when I put all that, I'm going to make sure all that stuff is planted before the actual plants that I want to get my vegetables off of. I want to make sure all the combating plants and flowers and herbs are planted first, then put your thing in. Let them get up a little bit so they can be there to protect the bugs and confuse the bugs with their smell. So
Mhm.
that's my part of my plan. I've already started some of my research, and that's kind of what the plan is for. So it reminds me to, okay, here you need some onions and some garlic, you need some radishes, you need some basil,
Yeah.
basil everywhere. That's my advice. Basil everywhere.
Well, and a lot of people are just learning about companion planting and what's called banker plants, which are basically plants on the outside of your garden where the bugs are going to go and congregate because they like those plants and will stay away from your vegetable crop because you've got these other plants there.
Yeah, I've heard that was true about nasturtiums. What do you know about nasturtiums and growing?
Not that much. I'm actually not really a plant expert. Andy Lopez is more the plant expert, but
Okay.
I know nasturtiums are excellent. I know a few of the plants, like I know French marigolds with your tomato plants are extremely beneficial for your tomato plants. They form a symbiotic relationship in the roots themselves. But yeah, I'm not really too up on nasturtiums.
Yeah, yeah. I'm only like, I think this year was maybe my second year with nasturtiums, which I was hearing you needed to plant that with your plant, and now as of today, was hearing plant it near it as kind of a trap crop or attract it away from, like what you said, attract it away from
Yeah, a
uh,
trap plant.
the actual
Yeah.
vegetable. So yeah, so I was just seeing if you had any little tidbits on that part, but yeah. What kind of things do you think would be good to amend my soil with for next year? You have any tips?
Um, well, are you looking for biological or are you looking for components, building blocks? If you're looking for
More
building
like
blocks,
more like natural things like eggshells and
yeah, you can use
things like that.
things like that. You can crush your eggshells, but that's for calcium. It's a long-term source. Actually, the wife and I were talking about it yesterday because we've got, quite a probably 10, 15 pounds of eggshells.
Oh
But if you
wow.
crush those up and put them out, just understand it's a long-term calcium.
Yeah.
If you want instant calcium or instantly available to the biology that needs it, then you're going to want to do like a Korean natural farming technique of water soluble calcium, which is taking it and using biology to break down the calcium out of the eggshells. Then you can use that as a foliar spray or a soil drench and have available calcium right away. But one of the big keys is things called rock dust, and there's a lot of different varieties of rock dust out there. You've got glacial rock dust, you've got azomite, etc. The more variety you have of those, they're full of components that the plants and the biology need to grow. So that's one of the things that you can start with. Just putting out the rock dust to give your biology those components to work with.
Hmm. Never heard of that rock dust. That's something new. I have to look that up.
Well, you
Put
can
it
actually
down.
look up Gardens the Untold Story. I know Andy and I have discussed rock dust before, and there's a lot of really good information. C90, which is actually a salt, in very small amounts. It's very good for your garden to have that sodium available because of the 90, is it 79 or 97 different components in that particular salt. It comes from Baja California, but
Hmm.
that's really good to use as well because it's giving you the mineral content.
That's cool. Sounds cool. I have to do my research on that one. That one's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's just a lot of different techniques and a lot of things I want to plant and I want to grow and I want to conquer it. Like I'm just like I've got to have a giant pumpkin at some point. I've grown regular pumpkins. I've even grown gourds, different kinds of gourds, and
Mhm.
pretty princess white pumpkins I've grown. Um, And you know, one of the craziest ideas, and I learned this one by accident. So say you buy some pretty pumpkins and you put them on your front porch in the fall,
Hmm.
and the season's over. So so one year I decided I was going to put that by the side of the house, and the next year it started growing a plant. So then when I moved into this house, that was years ago. Okay. So when I moved in this house, I remembered that. So I have this one section, it's almost a circle, but not a perfect circle. But I call it the wild garden, and that's where I plant all the things that vine. Well, so if you take that pumpkin or a couple of them and you just let them, don't do anything to them, you just let
Yep.
them die there. They will create their own environment, and you might go and throw leaves and different compost and materials and stuff on top. And next year, pumpkin vines everywhere. So it's
Yep.
like a lazy gardener. There you go.
Yep. Oh
So
yeah, it's self-seeding, right?
do it by itself. Do it all by itself.
So we've actually had a couple of experts on biochar on our network. We had one, Kelpie Wilson, what on the 5th. So if you want to understand biochar in more depth, that'd be a video to watch. But that's another thing that you can add into
Yeah, I've
your grow.
experimented a little bit with biochar, but I know I need to do some more research.
Well, and
Definitely.
biochar is actually very easy to make. You can actually just by literally digging a cone-shaped hole in the ground, and understanding that you're burning from the top down. You can easily create biochar for your garden. You don't have to buy any equipment, although there is better equipment to use. But it's very easy and very, very beneficial.
Yeah, I actually tried it. I think I was watching, I want to say it was David the Good, but I'm not completely sure.
Yep.
So we did try that, but I got attacked, a lot of bugs in the garden this year. But anyway, I'm going to work more on getting all that stuff out there to run off the bugs. So we'll see. We'll try again.
Yep.
We'll
Well,
try again.
one of the things you have to understand is the bugs, they sense a sick plant, and
Mhm.
they'll go and attack a plant because what they're designed to do is break that plant down, return the components back to the soil for the next year. So if you've got bugs, you have unhealthy plants. So you don't want to consume those plants. You want to put them back into the soil structure, whether that's through composting, worm bins, etc., to add those components back so it's better for the next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I do leave a lot of it, like, unless I know that it's going to cause a problem for next year. Like
Yeah.
certain problems you have, you don't want to put them back in. But there's some things like I was breaking down my 4 o'clock, you know, flowers. Like I had a massive amount. Like I had two different containers, just like a whole bouquet of them. It was
Hmm.
beautiful. But I was just cutting them down and composting them into another area to help, with that natural. I've learned about the layers and all the things that break down. So I was
Yeah.
composting from there over to here to help this for next year. So it's like that, what you're saying, letting
Yeah.
it go back to itself.
Well, the
So I'm
more
learning.
organic material, the
I'm
better
going to
off your
get
plants
better
are.
every year. More
Yep.
organic material. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, you have to consider that the organic material is not just a food source for the biology, but it's a place for them to live and grow and have their babies and multiply. And having more multiples of biology and a more diverse biology, the healthier and the more genetic potential your plants have of being absolutely amazing.
Yeah. True.
So you've got your garden. We've been talking about that. Let's talk a little bit about your chickens.
Chickens. I have 13 chickens, all
Hmm.
hens, no rooster. Yep, that's what we have.
So
That's just how many we have right now.
you were saying that you're letting them into your garden, especially after the end of the season to help with you know uh, the high
Only one of them
nitrogen
hops
content.
over the fence. Only
Yeah.
Annie Lou hops over the fence. The rest of them stay over there because I have literally a fence going down the middle of the yard that
Hmm.
separates the chicken side so they can free range and the gardening side. But yeah, now that it's, just a little bit of fall stuff planted, I just let the chickens go but it's mainly
Yep.
just Annie. But this time she had a friend that followed her. I forget which one it was, but some of them
She's
look
teaching
so
them.
much alike. I can't keep up with their names. It's like I don't know. We'll just call you Gretchen. Okay, you're Gretchen. I don't know. I don't know which one you are. I
Watch out for
named
the
one
great
after my
chicken
older
escape.
sister. Huh?
The great chicken escape.
Yeah.
Mm.
So Annie Lou's the one that always jumps over that fence. She's like, I don't want to be over here. I want to be. Look at all that pretty green grass over there.
Yep.
But
Well,
they
it's
have the shadier side of the yard. They have a
mhm,
big, huge tree over their coop. And basically, hubby took a dog kennel and
mhm.
he took the chicken wire and buried it up under and dirt on top of it. So there's no way to get in under the thing. And then on top, he put the chicken wires, a couple of layers, and then a tarp to keep them dry, right? Which needs to probably be replaced. And then he built a perch in the middle where they can perch at night. He built it with wood. So, hello, Wanda Henry, how are you? So, he did a really good job on that. And then we had later on we attached some little nesting. We have 3 different little nesting boxes for them to
Yep.
go to. And they have 3. You want to know where they lay? In the same one every time. Why
Yep.
do they do that? It's insane, but they do. So this morning I decided I was going to play with them. So I took the little fake egg and
Mhm.
then one of the tiny eggs. And I said, I'm just going to experiment with this one. So I took the fake egg and put it over in another area, and then put the little real egg, and I moved them to a different space so they could be like, oh, somebody laid their egg over here. And I want to see if I can I'm messing with them just to see if it'll do any. It's to see if they'll move it around. I'm just playing little jokes with the chickens, just for
Okay.
fun.
Don't want to say too much on playing jokes on your chickens. Okay.
It's funny. I just want to see, will they move where they lay based on the fact that they think someone else laid over here? Will
Yeah.
they move their spot? And I put the little fake egg over here too. So they're like, okay, well, what's going on? Why are people laying here now?
Well, speaking of the fake eggs, explain to
Mhm.
people why that you would have a fake egg.
Well, when you have brand new chickens who've never laid before, you want to give them an idea of where they're supposed to lay. It's like a training technique.
Hmm.
Here, lay here. So it's
Okay.
and really I don't need that right now because I really don't have any babies. So really that should be probably just pulled out. But anyway, yeah.
Well, most people don't understand that, you're gonna have to train these chickens a little bit. They
Yeah.
just,
Or they'll
well,
lay
here,
right in the middle of the coop where
yeah,
where they pooped and stuff. You don't want that.
yeah, exactly. You
Plus, I don't have to go in because the
mhm.
nesting box is on the outside and I can just lift it and grab the eggs. I don't have to go in there and get my shoes dirty. You know what I mean?
Yep, yep. I know exactly what you mean. It's been a long time since I had chickens, but I remember, this cleaning out the coop and the shoveling and oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So you say you have 3 different nesting boxes. Do each one, or is there different groups that use different boxes or
There's two store-bought coops attached to the dog kennel part, which is their run.
yep.
And they all lay in one, and not just one, but that exact one. So there's 3 in
Mm,
each one. There's 3 in this one and 3 in this one, and then a really big wooden one over here. So the big wooden one, they use that to poop in, which is perfect because I can just scoop it out and take it to the garden. So I like that part. But the other two, like one, I kept opening that one every day, nothing. I'm like, man, you guys, why are you always laying this one? Why can't you lay over? Why can't you spread it out? It's supposed to be like an Easter egg hunt. But no, you put them all together.
Yep. Well, I know I've watched a lot of different homesteaders and them using chicken tractors, both their layers, their feed birds, etc. And like a lot of different styles of laying spaces where the eggs roll out so they stay a lot cleaner, etc. But do you wash your eggs, or are you leaving them dirty so that they can last longer and be outside of a refrigerator?
So this is my rule on the eggs. Okay, so I do sell some eggs because it's
Hmm.
more. There's only two of us, so
Right.
that's really technically too many chickens for us. So we do sell the eggs, and when I'm selling the eggs, I want to make sure they're clean. So I check them first. Does this one need to be washed? If it does not need to be washed, I put it in there. If it is dirty, if it rained that day or it's dirty, I will wash it. But once I wash it though, then I have to put it in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
But you can leave it on the counter until you've washed it. Once you've washed it, it's got to go in the refrigerator. It's because you mess up the bloom on the egg. So yeah, I
You're
only wash them
taking
if
the
I have to.
biology away.
What's that?
You're washing the biology off of the outside of the egg, which protects it.
Yeah.
You
I had to
called it a
explain this
bloom.
to my stepdaughter. All my research was done on YouTube, but I learned by watching videos. That's how I
Yep.
learned.
Well, and the thing is that it's people like you, Gail, that are sharing the information that allows other people to learn. Like I call it the university of YouTube because there's so much true information as long as you don't just listen to one person, you listen
Yeah.
to a
Do your
multitude
research.
to learn.
Okay. And I really
So,
haven't done any content on my chickens lately. I need to add that in somewhere.
yep, yep. Now, one of the other things that I saw on your YouTube channel, and I should actually bring up your YouTube channel, so anybody that wants to, Gail Southern Living, check it out on YouTube. You talk about an apothecary as well. How did you get into that side of it?
I really don't have a lot of experience with that. It's a collaboration that I joined. And someone had sent me some plantain leaf, and I wasn't
Mhm.
sure exactly why, but then this collaboration came and I was trying to figure out an idea of what to do. And so I had consultation with three different people to figure it out. So finally I came up with I was going to make plantain leaf tea, which has a lot of great health benefits. So I
Mhm.
basically just did my research, did my medical disclaimer, and yeah, so that was me joining a collaboration. I really don't have a lot of experience with herbal medicine. I'm learning. That's another new thing. Apothecary. There you go.
Well, and that's the thing. You're giving yourself the availability to learn it. Most people would just go, well, no, I don't need to even look at that. I can just rely on somebody else. But that's where your love of knowledge really
Yeah,
shows, Gail. And I love that you're sharing this information with people.
yeah, I
It's
do.
absolutely amazing.
I learn it. I'm not an expert in anything, but what I learn, I like to teach it back. And maybe somebody else, I assume that everything I know, everybody else already knows. But you know what? There's somebody out there that doesn't know.
Well, I'll
Yeah.
give you a little hint. There's a video online of a person, and all they're doing is showing how to put a screwdriver or a screw into the wall. It's got millions and millions and millions of views because lots of people have never had to put a screw into drywall, so they're searching for that information. So
Yeah.
the simplest things can have a amazing impact on people's knowledge. Like how many people I know personally that have went to their children have went to the gas station and have no idea how to put gas in the car because mom and dad have done it all the years. They
Yeah.
never had to even try.
Yeah. So when I very first got on my own, I didn't have a car, but I was
Mhm.
living with a friend and she had a car. So we would go everywhere together. Well, I had never driven a car or pumped gas in a car, but I was just like, how hard could this be? Right. So
Yep.
I just figured it out. And so then from then on, she would take me with her, but she had a little bit of problems and she did help with some things. And so I was like, yeah, I'm perfectly glad to help you. I'm just have that giving nature to help those I feel like need me, with stuff.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, that's no problem. So I would just go with her and pump her gas for her because she would pay. Remember when they had the service stations where you pay for people to do it? She would pay. And I'm like, man, you're paying all this extra money. I could pump this gas for you for free, So I did. I started pumping her gas for her. And I'd never done it, but I
Mm.
just okay, they're okay, this is what they're doing. Got it.
Yep.
So
Well, and
I
it's
just
the
got that
little things that can have
mhm.
such a huge impact on somebody's life. It's those aha moments where I go, well, now it makes sense to do it this way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So much. I need to make a video of all the things I've learned on YouTube. I didn't realize how much it was, and then you brought up the apothecary thing. I was like, yep, there's another thing I did. Didn't know anything about it. Yeah.
Hmm. So you've said you've only been doing YouTube, I think 3 years or 5 years?
4 years. It's
4 years.
just, yeah, 4 years. It's 4 years this month. 4 years. Mhm.
And you started gardening, etc., at the same basic time, or you were learning a little bit before that?
I was probably gardening, 10 or 12 years before that, but I was staying really, really super in my own little box of just planting the same things the same way all the time. And I
Yep.
would just move my crops around, which was working because I was using up the soil and then moving it around. So I kind of had I had that concept. That's really all. I didn't know anything else. I heard about the banana peels. That was really the only thing I knew before YouTube. And now, after listening to all these gardening lives, I learned about eggshells and banana water and shredded paper and leaves and sticks and big old chunks of wood and all kinds of stuff you can put in your garden that you have at your house, making your own bone meal. That's a cool concept. Mm.
Yeah. Well, and the more you learn, the more you're sharing, the more benefit our entire species has,
Mhm.
because it's literally our life force, our life on this planet is coming down to the biology, and you're creating in your garden, in your backyard, a biological paradise.
Mhm. Yep. Working on that soil. I have one side of the yard that's like my composting area, and then I have a big old chunk of dirt that they pulled from the work they did on my driveway. I said, wait a minute, I want that dirt."
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
sure. So they were more than glad to drive it up and dump it where I wanted it. So that's perfectly good soil from the front yard that we
Mhm.
got. So
Well,
so
and other than that, they would actually had to pay to take it away.
wait, that's my dirt.
Exactly. We all need more dirt.
Yeah, why not? More dirt. Sure.
Well, actually,
Like
let's change it to from dirt to living soil. We all need more
soil.
living
Yes,
soil.
soil. Yeah.
Yeah. Have
Hope
you
it's
ever
pretty.
watched Dr. Elaine Ingham?
I think she's got a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah. Well,
I
she
think I've had
does
her mentioned to me several times. Seemed like I've
um
watched a video. Was she
soil
on
food
Pro
web
Big
school.
TV?
Don't know, but she runs the Soil Food Web School. She's one of the original people that started talking about biology decades ago. Um,
I
but
think I
one of
watched it
her
live
Yeah,
of
one
her.
of her things is, calling it dirt, but having a real presence when you call it like dirt. It's really bad dirt instead of soil.
Yeah, soil, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my goal is to be able to grow my own soil and not have to purchase it at all.
Yeah.
That's my goal. And I also want to try to grow naturally and not add, pesticides and things to the soil, because if I can't grow my food without pesticides, I might as well just go buy it at the store. I mean, if I can't do it better, then I might as well just buy that they already have out there. So
Yeah.
that's me. I try, but it's really hard because the
Mhm.
bugs. Oh, the
Yeah.
bugs.
Well, and that's the thing, once people truly understand how to make their soil alive with the biology in it, then it's really amazing that the bugs all of a sudden don't bother to come and bother your plants. They'll go to the next door neighbors. Um, have you found that over the years your soil has improved where certain areas are better than others?
Maybe, possibly the areas where the bugs attacked. Now, it's not a complete thing because okay, so one area that the vine borers hit was the squash bed, the zucchini bed, and the
Mhm.
zucchini's been planted in that same space every year, but it's also been amended. Okay, so maybe the soil's used up. Maybe I need to do more amending to that, more than normal. But that doesn't stand true for my metal bed, which was brand new bed that I had just set up, and that bed got attacked by the squash bugs.
Mhm.
Then I had a rectangle bed where I planted my tomatoes, and I planted two tomatoes here, and put basil down the middle. That was a really awesome crop of Mariana tomatoes, like Roma tomatoes.
Mhm.
So, and that was a brand new bed. So, that's kind of a confusing thing between brand new beds and beds you've used before. So,
Yeah, well, re-inoculating your beds as for the different plants, the different uses, and because each plant draws up specific nutrients
mhm,
from your soil, and the more of that particular nutrient that's in the bed, the healthier the plant is going to be that year. But if you're not re-amending,
mhm.
to bring back that
Yeah,
that
I'm
think
re-amending, but maybe not with the right things. I don't know. I mean, I've been
well,
amending.
and that's where I mentioned the rock
Am I
dust.
getting it
And
right? I don't know.
yeah, well, and the other thing, like if you're a large scale farm, you can do a lot of soil tests, etc. But for a backyard grower, you're not going to be doing your soil tests so much. So if I can make a suggestion of looking into Jadam, Jadam, um, and looking at their Jadam microbial solution. Um, it's really easy to make, and it's a really good way to add both the components necessary for plants, but the biology or a mix of biology as well. So you
Mhm,
might want to look at that so that what you're basically doing is during the growing season, you're giving the biology the components in an easily broken down form for them to use. And the thicker the cell wall of the plant, the less bugs, etc., you'll have. So you might want to check that out and look at making some of that. And that's extremely simple to make.
mhm.
And it doesn't take very long, but it's a natural fertilization of your crops and your soil.
That sounds good. I need to
Have
write
you
this
done
down and write the other thing down.
well? Have
I
you
should have
looked at,
brought my pen.
Korean natural farming at all?
No. I
That's
mean, I
something.
watched a couple of gardeners
Mhm.
in other countries. Like I was part of a big collaboration. It was a gardening collaboration called Shed Wars, and I would watch some other people in other countries gardening. And I can't remember where it was though. I want to say it was the Philippines, but I'm not sure.
Mhm. Well, this it's the methodology. They've called it Korean natural farming. It's just natural farming. It's making your own inputs from what's on your property. But Master Cho, the guy that
That's
really
what I've been
has,
trying to do.
yeah, he's put it out to the world. Um, there's a couple of really good people, Kevin or Chris Trump, I should say, and there's a guy out of Hawaii that's actually studied, went to Korea and studied. But the Korean natural farming is all organic. It's not dangerous for you to use, and you can get it, you can drink it yourself, etc. Where his son has created jadam, and that's more of a chemical way to get to the same thing, and those chemicals can be very dangerous. So
Hmm.
I always suggest to people to look at the Korean natural farming. Chris Trump, as I said, is one of the bigger voices in it. But it's an amazing way to add biology and the components into your soil structure and into your plants um, in a very, very organic way.
Hmm. I did walk around the yard and try to try to, instead of being a random stick in the yard, I'll break it up and put it into a bed so it can, because if you look at the store-bought soil, there's little sticks in it, but it's been
Mm-hmm.
composted for a while. So why not get that started and put it in some of the beds and in some of your compost? So I don't look at them as annoying things. I'll put them in the compost and let them break down, which will
Mm-hmm.
become part of the soil. So I didn't used to do that. I see leaves as an asset, sticks,
Yep.
shredded
Anything that's
ends of
organic.
paper. Yeah,
Yep.
shredded paper,
Mm-hmm.
eggshells, banana peels, all kinds of stuff. I
Well,
mean,
there's
I'm
really, if it's organic, if it's been growing, you can put it back into your soil system and it's going to add to it. There shouldn't be anything on your property other than metal that you should be putting into a garbage to go to a garbage dump. Anything that's organic, you should be keeping in your property and adding it back into your soils.
yeah, I agree. I try to
Yep.
compost what I can. Coffee
Yep.
grounds, I use that too.
Yeah. Have you got into worm farming at all?
No, I haven't. I thought about it for a while. I thought about it. I've been thinking about it. That's that's in the list, I guess you would say. It's in the list.
That's
It's
the
on the
winter
list.
study list.
Also rabbits, that's on the list too, because rabbits are cold compost, cold
Mhm.
manure that's good for your garden that you can put on the garden right away. So I've considered, because it's a small, it's a backyard
Yeah.
garden. Uh, so that's probably the best thing that you can do is like bunnies. I've considered that, but like I say, bunnies and worms is on the list because there's only a certain amount of things you can do in a backyard. It is a big backyard,
Yeah.
but it's not that big. It's not big enough for goats and sheep and giraffes and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I say giraffes. That's a joke toward Jan.
Okay. There you go, Jan. You got joked out now. So worms are actually extremely, extremely simple. You get your compost worms, a container, and it's cheap to make your own worm bin. But the benefit is you can take your finished compost that you've made, use that as an actual bedding, and what comes out of that is extremely valuable. You can take a small amount, make an extract, and spray that onto your plants. You will be utterly amazed at the changes that you will see in your plants and in your garden strictly from
Yeah.
using a worm castings.
Probably the best place if I was going to do that would be right in there in the utility room.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bench in there that hubby built, this like table thing, and we put like totes, like out of season holiday
Mm-hmm.
decorations, things like that in there. And that would be the perfect place for nice little
Worm
worm,
bin.
because I'm certainly not putting it under my bed because I've heard of people doing that, and
Yeah.
I don't think I could sleep with worms under my bed. I'm just saying.
Yep. Yep.
That is
Well, and
not
there's a lot of different people that can very quickly teach you the basics of, how to build a worm bin and the different methodologies, the different types of worms. I was actually just watching a gentleman, Matt's Captain Matt. He's a gentleman in his mid 70s, who's got into worms a little while ago, but he has a course on it, etc., because he wants to see everybody take start worms and build their soils, etc. It's just such an advantage. Like, he's got his own company now where he creates the worm castings, and then he processes them and makes a worm juice, and he sells that. He's very successful, but it's something that you could make available to your town and area if you got into that, and it's not very difficult to do.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't. I have watched videos on it. It was probably a couple of years ago. I thought
Mhm.
about it for a while. Like I said, you know, sometimes I jump right in feet first. Other times I'm like, oh, do I want to do
Yeah.
that? Yeah,
Well, and then there's, you have to make sure that your moisture level in the bin is right, or you'll have, worms escaping. They'll just take off, right? And you don't want that to happen.
I want a
Um,
bunch of worms in my utility.
well, and there's ways to
Another
stop
reason
it.
why you should not have it under your
The
bed.
bed. Yep. Yep.
I've heard of
Exactly.
that. People putting it under their bed. That's
Yeah,
got
that
to be a man because a girl totally wouldn't do that.
I'm not going to say anything either way, because I've seen people do some pretty weird, wild things.
I agree. We're weird too.
Mhm. So, what other things would you like to talk about? You know more about what you do and what you're able to share your knowledge. What's one of the key things that you would like to share with people?
Hmm. Well, I kind of split up my year half and half. In the gardening season, I do gardening. In the winter and fall, I do like cooking and crafts and things like that. I also do interviews on my channel year round. And I started a new live series called The Secret of My Success,
Hmm.
where I have channels over 5,000 subscribers. They'll come up. I'll, Heather and I will get together and ask them some questions that will hopefully help new YouTubers. So that's one of my passions, is to try to help new YouTubers to grow,
Hmm.
to again teach back what I know. What little I know, I want to give to someone else. So I've also done mentoring. About once a year, I put out a video and I say, "Hey, guy," or maybe it's I don't know how often, but anyway, every once in a while, I'll put out a video and I'll be like, "Okay, the first two or three people to email me, you're signed up." And then
Yep.
I'll go through with them. I'll make a list. I'll make up a list of all the things I want them to do and check them off. And I've had so many of those channels who have gotten monetized and gone,
Hmm.
hit their 1K, just different little milestones there. So I like to help other people. Also, the Fall Fest 24 collaboration, it's a collaborative giveaway. And this also helps the small YouTube channels to grow because it helps to build your community. And the
Hmm.
point of this is I'm trying to join the different groups together, cooking and gardening and paper crafting and sewing and crochet, traveling and vlogging. So there's like about 8 different genres that have signed up for this collab. And it's a great way to broaden your network and grow your
Yeah.
community. It's every year I have people email me I've never heard of ever, and I make new friends. And then the
Yeah.
people also make friends with your channel, and you get to know the people in your comment section too. So it's a
Hmm.
really really cool collaboration in it, and it does really well. So
Well, and that's
super
the
proud
thing.
of that.
Everybody's sharing it. Like
Yeah,
one of the things that I put up a lot of times is caring, sharing, and community, because that's what life really is about, helping each other instead of, I'm gonna, this is my secret and I'm not gonna tell anybody because it's mine. It's like, no, give that knowledge away, help
wow,
everybody.
give it away. Yep. Yep. I like to teach YouTube tips. I like to help. I don't know everything on electronics, but if I know it, I'll help you with it. I've been on the
Mhm,
phone with multiple people. I'll be on the phone with them while going through the laptop. It's easier for me to explain it as I'm doing it. So I'll pull up
mhm.
my laptop like I'm doing it, and it's easier. I'm like, okay, push this button, push this button, push this button, But I just figure things by playing around, getting it right, getting it wrong, and eventually I might hit on the right thing.
Well, that's one of the better ways of learning is just to actually just do it. Just
Try
jump
it.
in, start doing it,
Just try
make the
pumping
mistake.
that gas even though you've never done it before, because how bad could it be? As long as you're not smoky at the same time, you're good, man.
Yep, yep. Well, and then the thing is it's never a failure when it doesn't work. It's just you learn a new way that it can't be done.
Yeah, I try to implement, a couple of new methods into my gardening every year. I'm also learning things in the kitchen. I don't ever really talk about that or focus on that, but learning pressure canning and water bath canning and apothecary stuff and all this stuff and making pasta. I mean,
Hmm.
if you'd asked my mom if I would have ever done any of that, she'd be like, no. And then sewing. I just started taking on learning sewing.
Hmm.
My friend Kathleen with My Alabama Farm Life, I received this package in the mail. So I open it up and I'm like, it's a sewing machine. What am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with this? I don't know how to sew.
Hmm.
So I left it in the box. It sat there. I called my mom and like, Mom, I need a lesson. So I brought the whole box. I didn't even open it because I didn't want to lose anything, because it's all
Yep,
these
yep.
pieces. I took the whole box to her house and we set it up. We did our first lesson. I said, I'm just going to leave it here. And then I'm going to come back every little bit and we're going to have another lesson. And when I feel comfortable, I'll take it home. So she just put her sewing machine up and put mine up until I learn. And then I said, if you have any projects, just go ahead and do it on mine. And then when I get it learned, I'll take it home and start doing it. But I've had my first lesson.
Yep.
Another thing I would have never done without YouTube. Hi, Linda.
Mm. And
So
that's the thing, you can
that
learn
was,
so much and you can basically become an expert in almost anything that you want to become an expert in by going through YouTube and other platforms that have and are sharing this knowledge. It's amazing that the time that we're living in right now is just absolutely amazing for education.
it is. It is. It's great. There's a lot of good stuff out there. I love doing it.
Mhm.
I have this group of friends and we talk on a group, and I'm like, oh, they're like, what are you having for dinner? Well, I'm gonna make this creamy sausage soup. They're like, "Ooh, that sounds good. Do you make a video on it?"
Yep.
5 seconds later, I send them the video I did like 2 years ago.
Yep. I
You
already
go,
did.
I already made that video. Here you go. Here's the recipe. There you go. So
Yeah.
it's just that easy. I actually go back to YouTube every once in a while. I can't find a recipe card. I'll just go back to my YouTube video, look in the description box, and there's the recipe written right there. Huh.
Yep.
So it's a little filing system.
It's simple.
Hello, hello.
And like Silly Lily says, we're living in interesting times, that's for sure, in a
We are.
multitude of ways.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of different ways.
So what's the or if there was one thing that you could share with a newbie, what would that one thing be?
I would say if you're a small channel and you're trying to work on building your channel, build your network.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about what other people are doing over here. Find your people, stick with them, watch their stuff, they'll watch yours, and just find your network and work with that group of people. Find your
Mm-hmm.
people and stick with those people and work together and help each other. Don't worry about if they're bigger than you or smaller than you. Don't even worry about it. If they're bigger than you, they can help you. If they're smaller than you, they have more time to watch your stuff. So either way, either friend is has great purpose. All sizes of channels have great purpose and can teach you something. So build
Yeah.
your group. That's my advice. Build your network.
Well, and that's beautiful advice because it really comes down to that caring, sharing, and community. You're building your network. That's your community. That's the people that are going to help you on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Now, one other point I want to make is one lit candle can light many without ever diminishing its own light. And Gail, you are definitely a lit candle because you are out there and sharing and sharing and sharing, and you care about people's success, and that's why you're doing what you're doing. And I'm so honored to be able to have you on my channel to share what you've done.
Thank you. Thank you. I need to have you back on again to talk about some more stuff. I have to pick a subject.
Yeah, pick a subject and I never stay on one subject for a whole show. Generally, I'm over here and then I'm over there.
Just chat. You have a sense of humor. I have a sense of humor. I've always feel more calm with people who have a sense of humor. They don't have to feel like, oh, am I going to say the wrong thing? Sometimes I get nervous when I do lives on other people's channel, but I feel very at ease here. So that's good.
Well, I'm glad that you do. I try to make it really easy on anybody that I'm interviewing or being interviewed by. It's so much easier. We can do it with a smile on your face and
Yeah.
joy in your heart.
Yes. Yes. Well, I hope your neck gets better.
It is the
I mean,
main.
other than holding your head just a little bit different, I would say you couldn't really tell, but
Well, I know that for the last few weeks, guys, I pinched a nerve in my neck and it went into my back, then into my shoulder, and then into this my right arm. And if you've ever had a Charlie horse, a cramp, just think all the muscles in my arm right now are sitting there throbbing and cramped up. That's why I haven't been doing shows, guys, for the last few weeks. Today
mm,
it started to calm down. That's why I
this
was
is your
able to
first
do
day
today.
back with me.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
Well, I've been doing the Monday shows because Leighton Morrison is the host. I'm just in the background. So I don't
yeah,
really, I can do that. But yeah, I haven't I've been in so much
being the
pain that
host
I
is a
haven't been
little
able to
bit
think.
different than just being on with somebody. I see what you're saying there.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really have to think too much where when I'm interviewing somebody, I have to actually be aware. And I was in a pain medication stupor for the last few weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't
Yep.
haven't taken any for a while. I took naproxen occasionally, but
Well, I have spent several years taking, 6 to 8 tramadol a day. Um, and it's one of the higher levels of painkiller. Generally, you only get it after surgery, but I've been on it for over 5 years. I was able to get off of it until this happened, and then I had to
go back on.
survive. I've had to take it, but it is
Yeah.
what it is.
I heard a noise in the room and I'm trying to figure out what it was. I almost feel like it was wind, but how would that be anyway? You see, I looked away. I was like, I was trying to investigate the sound in the room.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So, do you have anything coming up? Are you going to be live any places, or give us a little hint
I
where people can
do
meet you?
my lives on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. I have that new series, The Secret of My Success,
Mhm.
that gives YouTube tips. I'm interviewing channels that are bigger channels to hopefully learn some YouTube tips from them. And, that's going really well. And then in between, I do either open panels or have people up. I actually have a couple of people I want to have up um, coming up. So I need to get some of those scheduled. So,
Cool, cool. Well,
so
and that's
cool.
fantastic. The more people we get on and talk to, the more opportunity there is for people to learn and grow, and that's what it's really all about.
Yeah. Who is your next interview?
Well, actually Monday, I'm still waiting for confirmation, but I think it's going to be Organic Alexa. They just are this weekend. They're doing a Camp Compost in Michigan, a big regenerative event. I think we're trying to get her on for Monday, and then on let's see, on Wednesday, um, I'm on with the Chicken Ranch being interviewed, and then of course Andy
Oh,
Lopez on Wednesday, and then I have Jerry Butler from Butler Family Farms next Friday.
wow. You got a busy week there. Wow.
Well, and I'm doing a live event, and anybody in Central Alberta, Pine Lake Camp Canna, which is a cannabis event. I'm going to be speaking there on this Sunday.
Oh, okay. Cool. Lots of stuff going on.
Always,
Fest is
always
my biggest project right now. That starts on September 2nd. So
cool.
just gathering collaborators for that. I have about 34 channels signed up so far for that. So it's a pretty big event.
Right on. It's going to be an amazing event.
It is. Excited about it.
Well, Gail, it's been an hour, and I'm going to go take some more pain meds. So I think we'll end it there. Do you have
Okay.
anything else
Sounds
you'd like
good.
to add?
Nope, that's it. Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate all of you.
Definitely. Okay, guys, I'm going to end the stream. You guys have a wonderful, blessed day, and
I got
we'll see you guys later. Bye bye.